Hi, my name is Max Silber, and I'm here today to review MetTel's wireless offering. MetTel has been around since 1996. We're a privately held company, and our core mission has always been to provide our customers with extraordinary value by matching them up with the best possible communication solutions available to meet their needs. Mobility is becoming a very vital component of the enterprise ecosystem when it comes to communication. And having a single source provider to facilitate multiple carriers, provide our customers with best of breed devices, services, and features really allows our customers to stay on the cutting edge. I talked about value. Value at MetTel actually comes in multiple forms. First and foremost is hard dollar savings. MetTel on average can save our customers between 15 and 20% off of even the highest discount level that they're receiving from the underlying network providers today. And the reason why we can do that is because we do have these long-term wholesale relationships with the underlying network providers. Beyond those hard dollar savings, we also provide value in the form of customer care. We've put together a very unique customer care program. It's what we would consider to be white glove customer care. What makes it unique is first and foremost, it's not outsourced, it's not offshored. We actually run all customer care out of our own facilities in New York, Salt Lake City, Utah, and Rhode Island. And it's all MetTel employees answering the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and providing our customers with everything from end user support to billing questions to a place to place orders or make changes or process any kind of returns. And that's something that's been very unique in the space because we don't charge anything additional for that level of service. One of our other areas that I would certainly consider to be of value is our Met1 proprietary telecom expense management portal. All our customers receive access to our Met1 portal. It is a full functioning TEM portal, allows our customers to manage their business, allows our customers to be able to get a bird's eye view of what's happening on their spend and allow them to really manage their spend on an ongoing basis. We also allow our customers to have access to a much higher degree of customization when it comes to mobility plans. Plans typically are purchased from the underlying network providers, Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, or other, at a predetermined rate, and then each organization gets applied a discount. That discount, of course, is based on the number of devices you have or the number of dollars that you're spending with that given operator. Because we have wholesale relationships with those underlying network providers, and because we're providing services today in the US to north of 15,000 corporations, organizations, even federal agencies, we have the ability through economies of scale to not only provide our customers with a high degree of savings, but also allow them to do unique things like cross-carrier pooling. So some of our customers can actually utilize multiple carriers, but be able to source everything and be able to consolidate everything under single pools for voice, text, and data, which provides them with a huge cost advantage. And lastly, we do provide additional value that is, again, included in our offering, which I'll talk about in greater detail, including mobile device management, something that is highly demanded by all IT professionals in the enterprise space today. And it's something that's been a big differentiator for MetTel since we launched the program. Just a little bit around our entire portfolio of products. MetTel provides the same level of wholesale pricing across a variety of different service lines. Our complete portfolio ranges from plain old telephony service lines all the way up to MPLS data circuits, cloud-based offerings, and of course wireless, which sits right in the middle of this slide. And wireless or mobility is really not always the same thing to everyone. So we've actually broken it down into 4 distinct categories, and I'm actually going to highlight those categories on the following slide. The first of the offerings is probably the one that you're most familiar with. It's nationwide mobility, and that's handsets, tablets, essentially what we all walk around these days, what we all have in our pockets. And it ranges from feature phones or flip phones, which we see a lot of in ruggedized format in the enterprise space, all the way up to the smartphones that we're all familiar with, the iPhone 5Ss, the Galaxy S5s, or whatever is the latest and greatest that's out there. And we service those devices on the Verizon, on the Sprint, and on the AT&T network currently. And we're always adding on additional carriers or additional features as they become available, because we want to be able to source all those for our customers, give our customers the most amount of options, and let them make a decision not based on one carrier, but more based on their needs and the coverage that's best in their given area. Fixed wireless, being the next category, has actually been probably one of our fastest growing products beyond our regular growth rate. And the reason, I think, predominantly has been around the speed of wireless networks. Traditionally, in any kind of backup environment where you're backing up a primary network with a wireless offering, speeds were not equivalent to where customers needed to do anything beyond process credit cards from cash registers, for example. But with the introduction of 4G LTE speeds, customers are now getting upstream and downstream rates that are probably equivalent to a T1 connection on a fixed circuit. So that's been something that's been really a game changer for us and has been very exciting in the industry, because we're now able to very quickly and efficiently provide our customers with a wireless backup solution that could keep their business up and running even when they have a primary circuit outage. And like I said, now I'll provide more information on the following slides, but that's really been, again, an area where the industry has shifted away from backing up primary circuits with other primary circuits and has now really adopted wireless, both for the convenience factor. A wireless circuit could be installed as quickly as we can drop ship an air card and a router as a simple example, so it could be overnight, as opposed to having to wait weeks, sometimes months, for primary circuits or secondary circuits to be installed. Typically, a very good solution, both in existing store environments, but we've also seen a lot of growth in new stores where retailers open up new locations. The broadband may not have been delivered within the time frame that they wanted, but they still want to be able to be up and running and be up in operation. And that's really where wireless broadband, the second component of that bullet, comes in. Wireless broadband is those, I think of it more as pop-up stores or new locations where you need to have broadband on demand. You need it now. Stores about to go live or locations about to go live, and you need broadband there. And again, wireless can provide that as an ongoing solution, not just in the short term. Of course, the same applies to mobile broadband. Many organizations still provide their mobile workforce with air cards, with MiFi units to be able to work remotely. What makes MetTel unique in this space is not only that we could source it on all available carriers currently, which is Verizon, AT&T, and Sprint, but also that we can build a secure environment around that offering. We typically enter into a new deployment where we can actually create a private network within the network, what's called a private IP for organizations. And that's very important because organizations want to be able to not only provide access to their employees when they're out visiting customers or doing their jobs remotely, they want to be able to keep it secure. Regardless of the vertical that you're in, you either have to abide by certain compliance rules. There's regulations out there. Healthcare, for example, a very big vertical that we serve, has HIPAA compliance. Retailers have PCI compliance. Very important compliances in order to keep you in the good graces of the government, but of course also keep down your liability level. You want to be able to ensure credit card transactions aren't compromised. You want to make sure that patient confidential information isn't compromised. And that's really where it's more than just providing the access. It's really providing a complete solution to the organization. The fourth category on this slide is actually probably the most exciting. Beyond just having MetTel as that single source provider where you can source all your solutions, we've tried to identify where our customers have the greatest needs. And these needs typically do have additional costs associated to them. But what we've done at MetTel is working with providers, in this case, primarily the second bullet here, the mobile device management, working with mobile device management providers, we've actually been able to incorporate a solution as part of the offering, so thereby eliminating completely the cost of both licensing for mobile device management as well as support contracts or support hours that typically need to be purchased separately. So mobile device management has definitely been a huge advantage or a huge selling point for us. We do include it. It's all included within the offering. We're currently using AirWatch. AirWatch is actually ranked by Gartner to be a leader in their Magic Quadrant. And that's really the reason why we chose it. We want to be able to provide our customers with solutions that they would otherwise go and source themselves. And in this case, all smart operating systems for devices provisioned through MetTel come with AirWatch mobile device management at no additional charge. Just a couple of other key points I want to make sure we make before we move into more of the details of those categories, those four category offerings that I provided. First, of course, one that I've said multiple times, services provided on currently the Verizon, Sprint, and AT&T network. We do anticipating adding the fourth network, and that should be coming in the next few quarters. But for now, our customers are certainly satisfied with the solutions that are available. And again, that single source, whether you need to order a Verizon device, an AT&T device, a Sprint device, it's one phone call, it's one dedicated operations team, a dedicated new client services representative that's part of that transition process when we go through the transition process. We're very much an operations-based organizations, and that's really where we see are some of our key advantages, and our customers tend to agree very much with those statements. Some of our customers still do use pool plans, and that's an important point that I want to make sure we take away from this slide. Pool plans typically are in environments where you have a lot of voice users, for example, like feature phones out in the field. Customers buy typically a pool of minutes or maybe a pool of texts, of course a pool of data as well. When it comes to the minutes component, I want to just point towards about halfway down the slide, free mobile to any mobile calling. That's actually a very important concept from a savings perspective, because what that means is once you're provisioned on MetTel's services, regardless of whether the underlying device and network is Verizon, Sprint, or AT&T, any call made to any other mobile device does not get deducted from your pool. So what that typically means for our customers is 30 days or 60 days after we onboard the customer, we're going to go back and revisit the pool that's available. And we're going to start to deduct it. So those customers typically see additional savings beyond that 15 to 20% mark that I mentioned earlier, and in some cases up to 40% savings off their current spend just by eliminating that mobile to any mobile. And mobile to any mobile in this case, just for clarification, doesn't just mean mobile to any other mobile device within your organization or within the same network. It means calling any other mobile phone in the domestic US, could even be a prepaid phone. Those calls do not get deducted from your available pool of minutes. There are some soft cost savings. It's always important to point out when we talked about mobile device management, That's essentially the way I always describe mobile device management. Is think of it as a BlackBerry enterprise server, but for any operating system. It could be for iPhone, Android, Windows Mobile, Symbian. They're all covered and managed under mobile device management, which typically means you can move away from BlackBerries if you're still tied to BlackBerries just from a security element perspective. You can move away from BlackBerry and therefore get some additional soft cost savings by decommissioning that BlackBerry enterprise server. Of course, MetTel does also support BlackBerry devices. We have many BlackBerry devices out in the field. We do work with BlackBerry enterprise servers, but we do like to provide that option to our customers, again, to give them the most amount of flexibility we can as the overall offering. Another soft cost saving we have seen with some deployments is companies that use GPS to track assets out in the field. It's typically field vehicles given to maintenance employees or construction-based employees. Mobile device management does have a GPS component embedded, utilizing the GPS of your device and then mapping it to the mobile device management portal. And in some cases, we've seen customers actually eliminate the GPS asset tracking subscription they had in place in order to take advantage of some additional savings there. I wanted to just highlight one of the solutions, and I'll try to highlight as many as I can, but one of the solutions I talked about earlier where we've seen MetTel Wireless Backup, or what we call MWB in this case, being deployed. There's a little bit of a network diagram here, shows a primary location. Could be retail. We've also seen this in the banking environment. We service many regional banks that utilize these types of solutions for the ATMs. ATMs, again, are devices or machines that are fed by network access. That's how they verify transactions and, of course, do what we ultimately want them to do, which is spit out some cash when we're at the ATM machine. When the primary connection goes down, the way to keep that ATM in service is to have a wireless backup solution in place. And again, we've seen this deployed and we've seen this utilized in retail environments, in banking environments, and in many other environments, including construction sites where this has really been the easiest solution, probably the most flexible for them to move around from location to location. Deployed both because of the speed element, the 4G LTE speeds that are available, of course, low power consumption, but also the security element. When we talk about banking transactions, when we talk about any kind of information exchange within an enterprise ecosystem, we want to make sure that we're always talking about security. And the solutions we've put in place really come out of our many years of existence and providing services to mission-critical organizations like hospitals, healthcare providers, retailers, banks, and the like, all the way up to the federal government, where security is really the underlying need, and cost savings is almost secondary to that. And just a quick network map to show you when I talked about earlier what private IP is, or what's the concept behind being able to really manage data. So in this example, in this map, imagine that any of the bottom sites marked as client locations have a primary router or have a primary data access through a fixed line circuit. If that circuit goes down, you want that location to stay up and running. In this case, you could have all transactions flow through the wireless device and have all that data, instead of going out to the public internet, actually gets consolidated, or once it hits the first tower, the local tower, it actually gets custom routed back to MetTel, because we do have those dedicated connections with the underlying providers. Gets private routed back to MetTel. MetTel then consolidates all that data on its secure MPLS and can drop the data back off at the customer's multiple data centers for full redundancy. That's important because in this example, think of each one of these sites having a different carrier. So think of the first one as Verizon, the second is AT&T, and the third as Sprint. To MetTel, it doesn't matter. All that data through our existing infrastructure and relationships, will be consolidated on that MetTel secure MPLS, and from that MPLS, we're going to be handing it off through a established connection with the customer's data center. So in that case, it's important because the customer's data is never compromised. Even if there's some kind of VPN tunnel that's created by the routers and the VPN tunnel fails, that data is still going to remain secure. We're still going to backhaul it in a secure format and deliver it back to the customer site in a secure format. And the last advantage of this type of scenario is the concept of private IP. One of the biggest probably issues that organizations have with these types of devices is they usually put a static public IP on the device. Public static IPs essentially are just that, they're public, which means any of these sites are prone to what's called a ping attack. And a ping attack essentially means a hacker can keep pinging the unit multiple times, thousands of times every second, until the device just fails and goes into a restart mode. In this scenario, you have a private IP address. It's not published on the public internet, and therefore your location is not as prone to any kind of external attack because the network remains private even though it's traveling over the mobile network. The second component we really want to make sure we highlight today because it's been such an important addition in general to the enterprise space is mobile device management. As I mentioned earlier, MetTel entered into agreements with AirWatch Mobile Device Management, currently owned by VMware. AirWatch is the leader in the mobile device management space, as I mentioned. Not just my opinion, Gartner Research ranks them a leader in the Magic Quadrant. And these are just some of the elements of why mobile device management is such an important tool for enterprise and corporate organizations to deploy. I always like to mention that traditionally organizations protected their data by giving everyone BlackBerries and having a BlackBerry enterprise server be able to really manage data on that device. So think of the day you leave the organization or the day that a specific employee loses their phone. I'm sure it's never happened to you. We see it, of course, all the time. I'm just kidding. The concept is, as an IT administrator, how do I manage that device? How do I protect the information? How do I do things like remotely wipe the device clean? Or maybe use the GPS functionality of that smartphone to locate the device so that I know where it is and I can recover it. That's really what mobile device management does at a very basic level. It allows a single portal and it allows that IT administrator really manage devices out in the field, either individually or in bulk, to do everything from ensure there's security on the devices so no one's physically hacking these, I call them mini computers. They're 16 gigabit devices at a minimum these days that employees are walking around with. That's a lot of information. You want to make sure that both email as well as files you share with the device are completely secure. So now that IT administrator can really secure and manage the content of the individuals in the organization, of course, their devices. Reporting and data integrity, there's a great deal of reporting available through AirWatch. There's around 75 standard reports, and of course there's a lot of room for customization and reports. Everything from what happened with the device, where the device traveled, to what was the battery life on the device when someone shut the phone off, to be able to help administrators troubleshoot devices that may be acting up. Of course, device recovery on the right side of the slide, you can locate and map a device. It has timestamps with integrated with Bing Maps, so you can actually bring up a map, see actual location with timestamp for every device. You can remotely lock a device, you can remotely unlock it, and you can wipe it clean. So you can completely wipe the device if it is lost or stolen. Even if the device is off, it will be wiped as soon as someone powers the device back up. And you do get alerts as an administrator when there are exceptions to the rule. As well as, on the bottom component, a full application management engine. So mobile device management actually allows you to update apps on end-user devices, push apps to end-user devices, even remove apps in the case that those apps are causing some errors on the device itself. So again, a very excellent tool for any IT administrator, really allows the complete set of controls that you would want to have around any of these devices being deployed out in the field. An advanced version of mobile device management, and it does come standard as well at no cost with MetTel, is to be able to start define rules around mobile device management through what we call exceptions. And the concept there is this engine has what's called geofencing built in, so you can actually build rules around physical locations or on a map where if someone enters a building, before they enter the building, certain things can happen to the device. One popular one we utilize for the government, as well as in many manufacturing facilities, is when someone enters the physical structure, it will actually remove the camera icon from their smartphone. So it will not allow them to do things like take pictures of anything inside that physical building. And that's all done through mobile device management. And it's done automatically by creating those rules and then applying those rules to individual groups of devices or individual devices. And again, the other very important component, something that our customers take a lot of advantage of, that comes with the overall offering, is MetTel's MetOne Portal. MetTel actually went out and developed their own proprietary portal. It's a portal we manage in-house. We have a team of around 25 developers that are constantly updating and managing the portal. The concept of the portal is really to provide that consolidation for our end-user customers. When we walked into probably some of our initial customers were large hospital chains, we'd walk in and see a room filled with invoices all the way up to the ceiling. Well, the concept of the MetOne Portal is to really digitize access to that information, but also make that information usable. Allow our customers to sort the information, run their own reports on it. Typically what customers pay money for. They usually enter into agreements with TEM portals, with telecom expense management portal companies, to be able to manage this information as a whole. In this case, we've made it part of the overall service offering. What makes our portal unique beyond providing all these advanced features to our end user customers, everything from billing data to GL codes or cost centers, which is something our customers use quite a bit of, all the way down to reporting, really precise reporting. The reporting function is actually an area where we're very unique because, again, because we're acting as the provider, not just as someone who's uploading a bill and running analysis on it. We actually have access to live data. We're getting live data feeds from those underlying network providers every 20 minutes. So the data that we're getting is actually real time, or as close to real time as you can get in mobility these days. And that's important to our customers. They don't want to find out about a problem 1 month after the fact. They want to be able to address it immediately and take action when a problem's occurring. So they have all these tools. They're all here. They're all available for their use. Same with inventory. Probably one of the most recurring issues we see when we analyze customers' current spend is the difference between what they believe they have as mobile inventory and what they actually have. So the concept here is keep a live inventory tool that you can know at any given time how many lines you have, what types of devices are on those lines, and be able to make decisions based on that accurate information. And of course, the help desk feature. As I mentioned earlier, we provide what we call white glove level help desk. That means real people here in the US, in our New York, Salt Lake City, Utah, and Rhode Island location, picking up the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Beyond that, we also provide our customers with a dedicated toll-free number for each account to be able to call in. So when they call in, we know who it is that's calling. The accounts actually pop up on the service manager screen right away as they're picking up the call. We also provide them with a dedicated email address. So if they choose to just send their transactions over email, they send it to a dedicated email address. And third is a self-serve tool. We do have a help desk management page on our portal, allows our customers to do everything from place orders to open up trouble tickets, to check on status of events that they've either ordered or issues that they've reported, and be able to see all the ticket notes from our internal reps. We have a full transparency policy at MetTel, so you don't have to call in to check for status on anything. Everything's actually populated and displayed real time on that help desk portal, and it's something our customers take advantage of quite a bit. And the last component within that help desk menu, which is very important to us, it's actually something that we custom created just for mobility, is what we call our mobile manager. And mobile manager, again, in the spirit of having a self-serve tool, we like to give as much access to our customers as possible. In this case, we've given the full access of a self-serve management tool to our customers. That means our customers are free to see their entire inventory on one portal, regardless of carrier. Most of our customers have multiple carriers. They can access all that information on a single portal. They can also enact live changes from that portal. So anything that you see in blue here, if the customer was to click on it, they can actually make a live change. And the reason why we could do that is we not only have wholesale relationship and dedicated connections into those underlying wireless carriers, we also have what's called APIs. So we're actually built into, in an automated fashion, the back-end systems of those carriers. So if I was to make a change of device or a change of service status to one of these lines that looks like are on Verizon, it will automatically send that change request to Verizon's provisioning portal. Same thing applies for AT&T. Same thing applies currently for Sprint. And that gives our customers the ability to really manage anything they want on their account 24 hours a day, even if they choose not to call us or email us, if they want to go in here and do it themselves. This engine will allow them to do everything from line service changes, device changes. We even have a porting menu here where our customers can initiate their own ports. So they can actually, they have a new employee joining the organization, they can actually put in the port request, and as soon as they click on submit, it will actually start that line, that number port from their new user's existing service to the new corporate service. So a lot of controls, a lot of power that we put in the hands of the customer. We want to enable our customers as much as possible to be able to ultimately do what's the goal here, which is to manage their business not only in a very efficient manner, also in a manner that saves them money and ultimately provides them with best-of-breed technology and best-of-breed service. So 3 areas if we want to look at mobile lifecycle management, and it's a cycle that everyone goes through. It's important to highlight it because mobility is not just about getting a new device, it's about managing the entire process. We do everything from where the process starts, which is rate plan optimization, really identify those hard dollar savings, looking at actual inventory, looking at actual spend, and then optimizing it, coming back and showing where we'd be able to come in as MetTel versus your current operator, your current spend. Then looking at technology alignment. Many companies use this as a good opportunity to upgrade either operating systems or how individuals out in the field access information, access that corporate information. And we try to make ourselves as much a part of this process as we can, because it's important for organizations not just to give employees latest and greatest devices, but make it part of what I said at the onset, which is make it part of that mobility ecosystem. That's a very important element, both from a security perspective, but also from a long-term investment perspective. You want to make sure you're protecting your investment, and what we're offering you is really in line with where you see the future needs of the organizations, not just current needs. And of course, The third point is device recycling. Need to do something with all those devices that are coming out of the field. Typically, I ask organizations what their device recycling strategy is. Unfortunately, way too often the response is we throw it into the file cabinet. There has to be a recycling process, both because there's potentially money sitting there where you can earn those credits back towards funding some of the technology upgrade, and we're going to work with you and provide you with some alternate options of how to turn that trash into cash, as it's known in the device recycling space, but also wipe those devices clean. You want to make sure from a security perspective, putting an old device in a file cabinet doesn't eliminate and cleanse the data sitting on the device. So we want to be part of that device recycling process. And that's really what I have for today. I want to thank you for taking the time to join us today, and please make sure to follow up with your representative for any follow-up questions. Thank you.